Welcome to the Mindset by Design podcast with your host and NLP expert, Andy Murphy, where you will learn the tips, tricks, and strategies he teaches his world-class clients to give you the skills to dominate any business. Welcome to the Mindset by Design podcast with your host, the expert Andy Murphy, where you will learn the tips, tricks, and strategies he teaches his world-class clients to give you the skills to dominate any business.
What's going on, Mindset by Design crew, and welcome to episode, this is a clip show. So it's not really a true episode. You can grab the full episodes always, every single week, and you can jump into those. But what we're going to do each week also in this regular feature is this could be clips of the previous episode. It could be lives I've done on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn. It could be private sessions. It could be just awesome stuff. Now remember, what we're all about here at Mindset by Design is about building new behaviors, new ways of thinking, feeling, and acting using NLP, which I'm a world-class expert at, concepts and the understanding of neuroscience, and also behavioral psychology, influence, persuasion, peak performance, all of those things combined together to be able to retrain your conscious, unconscious mind and really change the brain, the nervous system to make you superhuman. That's it, right? Have you ever seen that movie Limitless? Right. What my job is to give you the tools and tactics to be able to, live a limitless life, have a limitless brain, and create the life and freedom that you truly want. I've done this for 20 years all over the world, and I've done it with people from Saudi Arabian royalty to Fortune 500 CEOs, people doing IPO, world champions, digital superstars, right? People that you know all over the internet. We've got NBC winners, Hollywood producers and actors. I can go on and on, But the idea is here to help you. We've been doing this for a long, long time, and we're just getting started. So today, this is a clip show, so enjoy, and I will see you at the end of the show. Oh, just before you jump into the show, make sure that you're hitting the show notes, because we've got constant awesome courses, live events, free things, awesome things to be able to make you really perform at your absolute best and create the life that you deserve. So make sure you hit those show notes up or head over right now to andymurphy.online. andymurphy.online. So enjoy, and I will see you at the end of the show.
I started writing out, what do I really want? Do I really want to have a 50-person team? Do I really want $600,000 in monthly expenses? No, I don't want that, right? What do I want? What's the one thing I really, truly want? To be what everyone wants, to be relaxed, right?
Yeah.
What's the number one reason people want money? To be relaxed. What's the number one reason people want to be in love? To be relaxed. What's the number one reason people want to be healthy? To be relaxed. The only thing that people really want, for the most part, unless their ego gets involved, is relaxation.
Welcome to the Mindset by Design podcast with your host and NLP expert, Andy Murphy, where you will learn the tips, tricks, and strategies he teaches his world-class clients to give you the skills to dominate any business.
What's going on, Mindset by Design crew, and welcome to episode 374. Hope you're amazing as always. Always say it, always mean it. I really do. And you really should be amazing today. I'm pumped about today. I'm pumped about today's guest. I'm going to let you know all about him in a moment. But it's been a while since I interviewed people, right? If you're a regular listener, and I'm hoping that you are, you definitely know this. I used to interview so many people, some of the world leading best people in so many different areas, from world champion athletes to multi-millionaires to everyone else you can imagine in between. And over the years, I don't interview as many people. Why? Why, Andy? Because really, there's a lot of people out there pretending to be experts. They're very good at talking that talk. They're very good at marketing what they're talking about, but they're not very good at walking the walk. So as podcast industry blew up, remember I've done this for 7.5 years or so, a long time. So there wasn't as many podcasts as there is now. And I saw something on Rogan the other week, and I think there was 3.5 million podcasts now. So there wasn't that many back in the day, right? So a lot of people are portraying themselves as something. And so I'm very selective who I bring on the show. And one of the people that I've watched for years and been around, we've been in contact, but we've never really hung out and had a good chat, was today's guest. And he is as legitimate as a business guy and just a badass. And I'll tell you all about Scott in a moment, right? But I've watched him for years, and I've watched him just keep growing, but not just growing in the business world, not just growing with money, just growing as a human being. And it's beautiful because he just had a kid 7 weeks ago, and you can see a shift in him. And it's awesome. It's such a powerful interview. And do you know what? It's more than an interview. Me and him just go back and we just riff, and we talk about things that you probably are not expecting from Scott Alford. You're probably not expecting it from someone who does marketing and business scaling. You're probably not expecting what's going on in this interview, unless you're kind of a Buddhist monk. I mean it. I mean it. We'll tell you all about Scott in a moment. Actually, do you know what? I'll just tell you about Scott now. So Scott's done some amazing things. He really has. But what he's most known for is he's helped build and scale countless 6, 7, and 8-figure online businesses in the education, certification, coaching, consulting, and courses niche. Today, he works with a hybrid between a mentor advisor and an investor for these entrepreneurs to help them build their companies and scale while building a sustainable, profitable, and also harmony in their life. And that's what most people miss, is that harmony bit at the end, right? They really don't. It's all about money. Anyway, that's my 2 cents worth. But after being an entrepreneur since he was 8 and owning $1 million business by the time he was 17, he's now in his 30s, and he's been featured on Time, Entrepreneur, Inc., Forbes, Business Insider, MSNBC, and his content has been viewed by millions and millions and millions of entrepreneurs in 50 countries all over the world. And the truth about it is that doesn't even say enough about Scott. You know what I mean? It really, really doesn't. He is one of the most switched on dudes I've had the pleasure to hang out with and meet. He's a breath of fresh air in the entrepreneurial space. This is not what he's saying. This is me now, He really is, because he's coming from such a different perspective. It's not about the logical mind, although it is about the logical mind. It's about being an intuitive, but it's also about being an intellectual. It's also about you get the idea. This is a different way to perceive life, business. But do you know what the truth is? I've done this game for 20 years all over the world. I've worked with the best people in the world. I've had my highs, I've had my lows, I've had my highs again, just like all entrepreneurs have. I've looked into the minds of thousands and thousands and thousands of people, and there's not too many people out there who I've been around who have the business brain, the marketing brain, the numbers brain, but is also exceptionally conscious, working off understanding frequency, understanding the science of harmonics, understanding how really the truth as business is done and how life should be done. And that's what's going to be shown in this interview. So again, This is badass. I'm pumped for you to listen to this. We're going to put a clip show out because it's a quite an in-depth interview. And make sure you got your notepad and pen, because he goes through a real cool closed eye little visualization, but it's more than a visualization. And and I even closed my eyes. If you watch the video, which is going to be on YouTube, and I'm going to post all the clips and everything everywhere. But if you watch it, I've got my eyes closed, man. So if I've got my eye closed and I'm doing the interview, you should probably do it too. Links for Scott everywhere. You need to go and check his masterclasses he's putting out. You need to go and check his content out, and you just need to jump all over Scott. He's a badass for sure. And those links, where are they? In the show notes. You got it. Before we just jump into the interview, make sure you're checking those links out in the show notes, make sure that you're coming to jump on my list. The reason is, right now, we are putting the final touches. We should be launching the Unfair Advantage Academy by the end of this week. And I'm pumped about it. I really, really am. But it's only for certain types of people. Do you know what I mean? If you're experienced in sales, so you're experienced sales pro, closer, real estate agent, coach, or entrepreneur, then you're going to need this. What it's all about is doubling your income in the next 12 months using NLP, neuroscience, and 20 years of my experience working with the best in the world. We're also interviewing legends like Scott in a private separate interview just around sales. That's it. So that's going to be in the membership site. It's just immense, right? It's just immense. This is all the best bits that I've taken from all of the performance, the peak performance, all the stages I've spoke on around the world, all the minds I've looked in, and I'm bringing it into one place just for you. It's going to be your home if you're in sales, so we can make sure that you've got a long-lasting career, earning millions of dollars. You don't go on this roller coaster of emotion and burn out. No, we're making sure that this creates longevity and the life that you truly want. Sound good? It should sound good. So if that's for you, then make sure you jump on my list. So easily, just quickly, and go over to andymurphy.online. That's andymurphy.online. Or hang out with me on social media, Andy Murphy Mindset. Pretty easy to find. Let's go there now. You're going to be the first to be notified, and then we can have a chat and see if it's the right fit for you. I'm pumped. I'm going to be training this personally every week myself, as well as bringing in expert guests, and you get the idea, man. This is your home. So check that out, the Unfair Advantage Academy, and make sure that you're clicking on Scott's links. Okay, that's it. Should we jump in? Let's do it. I know you're going to love this, and I will see you at the end of the show. Okay, Mindset by Design crew. So, you've had my awesome intro. I'm pumped about today's guest. And look at him. He's got an amazing beard, awesome headphones, and he's ready to go. Scott, really nice to meet you, mate.
Yeah, likewise. I'm excited to talk today and see where it takes us.
Who knows where it goes, mate?
Who knows?
Where are you right now? Let's start even there, mate. Where are you right now?
Yeah, we're in Northern California, right above San Francisco. After being in Venice Beach for a few years, I'm from Canada originally.
Yeah,
and then we actually just bought a second house in more of the Midwest, and so we're working right now. So we're probably going to be Midwest. We're going to buy a place in Malibu, and then a place in Hawaii, and then kind of go in between those three spots and hack the weather system.
Dude.
And the tax system, and
I understand both of those things.
And so it's really exciting. So we're just closing on our second place any day now, and who knows where I'm going to be. We just had a kid 7 weeks ago.
Oh wow!
COVID happened. Couldn't travel a whole lot. So as soon as we can travel, who knows where we're going to end up? As soon as we can do that, who knows where we're going to end up?
Yeah,
we'll see what happens. But right now, that's where I am now.
No, that's beautiful, mate. So you know what? I lived in California mainly for like over 10 years, and I just spent my time in Southern California. I never even made it to like go by San Francisco.
It happens. It happens.
Stuck.
Yep. Well, SoCal will suck you in and don't let you go.
Mate, I've got a few questions about that one too, as you know. But it's COVID didn't stop me traveling, man. I live between part in the US and then part in Latin America and other places. Beautiful. So I've been to I think 8 countries over COVID.
Wow, that's amazing. I love that. I mean, we got some traveling. We did a little bit of Mexico.
It wasn't easy,
but no, it's not as easy. And if there's any time to very much go all in on private flying, it was COVID. And it really funny side note. So we're figuring that whole situation out for next year. And 2 years ago, I reached out to NetJets, and they had the membership card and the whole 9 yards. And so I reached back out to them about 3 months ago to kind of figure out, because we're going to do it next year.
Cool.
They are like, oh yeah, we don't have anything until 2024. Our business has skyrocketed. And I was like, of course it did, because nobody wants to deal with
all that stuff. Nonsense. That's a whole different conversation.
Yeah, a whole different conversation. It was mind blowing, because they went from, hey, you can have a membership and everything else, to, hey, the only thing we got is if you want to buy a quarter of the aircraft for the year.
Okay.
And so that was an interesting little switch. Anyways,
dude, yeah. But that's the way. That's the future. 100%, man. It's let's talk about where you've been for the past couple of years, mate. Because you were everywhere. You were literally you were all over social media, and that's before TikTok. It's you know what I mean?
Before TikTok existed here, at least.
Yeah.
It's been so in 2018, 2019. So for anybody that doesn't know me, background, I've been an entrepreneur since I was 8. I had $1 million business by the time I was 16, lost it all by the time I was 21. Yes. And I'm 31 now. And so the last, 7 years have done me quite well.
Sure.
But 2018, 2019, about 14, 15, 16 months, somewhere around there, I made about $14 million in the business that I was running. Didn't make any money. I made that money, but I didn't profit anything. And so like a lot of businesses, and so that made for a lot of reflection time. And I remember being in, me and my wife, we were part of this mastermind group, and we were in Necker Island with Richard Branson.
Nice.
And I was on, which, by the way, if you ever get the chance to be in Necker Island, it's a beautiful place. Awesome. And so I was on the beach by myself. My wife was off, doing some mastermind stuff. I was just doing my thing. I was like, all right, what do I really want to create? What's in my imagination that I want to bring into my reality? Because I realized, at this point, and this, which is, our imagination dictates our reality. Our mind dictates our reality so deeply. Really? And so I started writing out, what do I really want? Do I really want to have a 50-person team? Do I really want $600,000 a monthly expenses? No, I don't want that. Right? What do I want? What's the one thing I really truly want? To be what everyone wants, to be relaxed, right? Yeah. What's the number one reason people want money? To be relaxed. What's the number one reason people want to be in love? To be relaxed. What's the number one reason people want to be healthy? To be relaxed. The only thing that people really want, for the most part, unless their ego gets involved, is relaxation. And so I went, I said, you know what, this is not working. I sold part of the company, shut down the other part of the company. It cost me $1 million to do that, because you just can't stop a company one day and be like, all right, we're not going to pay any bills.
Right.
And so, then from there, it was really some time of finding, the word harmony is the best way I can put it.
Okay.
Which is let me find the best way in which I want to create my reality, from a place of intention, from a place of, I know I can make as much money as I want. I know I can do whatever I want. I've proven to myself at this point, I can do whatever I want.
For sure.
And, I read a really good Ray Dalio quote one time, and it was like, once you realize you can do anything but not everything, it really changes your life. And I was, and I really, really believe in that. And so then finally I got actual intentional about my life.
It's awesome.
I got really, really deep on, what parts of my life do I need ego in part of, and which ones don't I? And I went into this very introspective time, which was actually also the most profitable time in my life.
Is that right?
Like, I made more money in 2020 than 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019 combined in profit. Okay. In 1 year. Everyone's freaking out about COVID. I'm crushing it. And it continued in 2021.
It's awesome.
And then I took a sabbatical for about 5 months, and I said, I don't want to do anything. Let me get more into, let me get even deeper. Where am I going? So the first part was, let me get control of my environment. So that I could be my natural, brilliant self.
Yes. I love it.
Now let me figure out where I want to go. Go ahead. Because I know I'm doing a monologue.
Oh, mate, no. This is I when I get interviewed, people have to shut me up. So because there's so much to get out, and you know what I mean. So, but that's what I loved about. Like, I was going through your masterclass, and if you've never been through any of Scott's stuff, it's like you're gonna wake up to what's going on in the truth of your business and life, for sure. But one of the awesome stuff, it's true, mate. But one of the beautiful things that you said, and I love it. It's like, you got to be ruthless about what you say yes to and what you say no to. I use it a different way, but I love the ruthlessness. Be careful what you say yes to, because you're saying no to something else, right?
Yeah.
Literally, that ruthlessness is, and that gives you what you were saying. That gives you alignment by really cutting off.
Yeah.
And so
deeply.
Did that? Deeply, right? Did that 5 months give that for you? Was it just cutting away what didn't work with people and places and things and business models?
Well, so it first happened in 2019, because we moved away from LA to up here, and in the middle of the forest, really.
That's awesome.
And LA is one of those beautiful spots where if you don't know yourself, you're going to really not know yourself.
I live that.
And if you do know yourself, you're going to crush it. Okay. If you move to LA, you don't know yourself. It's very difficult, because your ego can take hold very deeply, because it's like the land of the ego, LA. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that is the truth.
It's the truth.
And so we came up here, and it was like, first it was, okay, what do I, let me pour back into me. I've spent 2015, 2016, all these years building for not really any real reason, just because, it all started with me trying to get out of $1 million in debt. And then I just kept going because I didn't know what else to do.
Right.
And so then, I was like, all right, well, now I have this beautiful multi-million-dollar home with a beautiful multi-million-dollar view. I have my supercar. I have everything I want physically in my life.
Nice.
Right. And so that was like 2020. And I was like, okay, cool. I poured into me. Now, what do I really want to wake up in the morning and do? What do I want to wake up in the morning and in the shower be like, what do I want to do today? And I didn't have a clear answer. And so that's why I took the sabbatical, right? I took the sabbatical because, I'm really good at what I do. I'm probably one of the best in the world for the specific thing that I do. I'm probably one of the best in the world.
I agree.
And well, where's this direction? Because I don't want to be just doing the same thing when I'm 31. I don't want to be doing the same thing when I'm 50. I want to be an entrepreneur, but I want to be doing innovation. I'm a creative. I see my business as art. Like, that's how I see it. I don't see my business as like this serious thing. Like, I see business as a form of play. And because of that, I said, okay, well, what do I want to do? And so I took time away, and it was beautiful. It was the best thing I ever did. One of the best things I ever did. One of the most difficult things I ever did, because, I was burning almost $200,000 a month in investments and everything else. And so I just watched the bank account go down, like liquid cash go down. And it was one of the most beneficial money mindset things I ever did in my life. To be like, I'm just going to stop making money for a minute.
Right.
And that was wild. I was like, I remember being in month 4 being like, damn, this is cool. and so that was beautiful. And so then when I came back, I was like, okay, I'm really good at what I do. I'm really good at helping people build 7+ figure businesses.
Yeah.
I want to help education. I want to help the world when it comes to being educated. And I want to change over the next 20 years the education system, because when I was growing up, I grew up in a very small town in a place called Newfoundland and Labrador in Canada, on the east coast of Canada. Gotcha. I grew up in a town with 9,000 people. I lived on about 13 acres of land, which, essentially a farm. I had a bunch of learning disabilities. School was very difficult for me. I was not some whiz kid school guy.
No, me neither.
And so I look, the next 20 years is going to be some of the most evolutionary times for our world, for consciousness, for everything. And we're not ready for that. And our economy is going to change so drastically over the next 5 years, over the next 10 years.
Talk to you about that.
The people are not ready. There are skills, both physical skills, spiritual skills, relationship skills, self skills that are not taught by schools, not taught by institutions, not taught by parents. I want to help those people. And so I said, okay, you know what? That's something I can be like. Everything in my life has to come from the energy. Not everyone's like this, but for me, everything I build and create, I build because it was for a past version of me. I got a book coming. Yeah, go ahead.
No. That was, I'm just agreeing with you, mate. I'm on the journey with you. Carry on.
And so, I have a new book coming out. I have The Nuclear Effect, which I highly recommend picking up. You can get it on Amazon or thenucleareffect.com for $1. It's my book on scaling 7-figure businesses. It's had 60,000 copies sold, which is amazing for such a small niche, type of thing.
Yeah, for sure.
But my next book's called $1 Million in the Red. Okay. And I wrote that book for the person, for me at 18, so I didn't go $1 million in debt. And so everything I do is based on that. And I said, okay, you know what? I am going to, so I was there, I'm going to borrow Warren Buffett's model of going into an industry and essentially creating a moat around the entire industry. Awesome. I'm going to transition from being an entrepreneur and business owner to being an investor and advisor and mentor only, which is my plan over the next 3 or 4 years.
Yes.
And I said, and then I started architecting what exactly is needed for this to be able to happen over the next 10 or 20 years. I see the big vision. Do I know all the pieces? No, because the truth is, once you know the vision, once you know what makes you feel, what gives you goosebumps. I got goosebumps right now just talking about when it gives you goosebumps, the universe is conspiring for you. You don't have to worry about anything anymore. And that is sometimes what you have to take the momentum away. I remember a quote from years ago, and I can't remember who it's from, but it said, in lack of clarity, take massive action. Well, I would add to this, when you have massive momentum and you don't know where it's going, slow the hell down. So you understand where you're going to end up.
Yeah.
So that's where we bring today. And that's what I'm doing today. That's what I'm excited about today. And all doing it while being in harmony, working less than 20 hours a week. I want to be there. We had our son Arrow born, like I said, 7 weeks ago. And that's very, very important to me. Yes. And, if I have to do something that takes more than 20, 25 hours a week, it's a no. And there's huge, no amount of money that's going to get me to negotiate against that. And so that's why when I talk about being ruthless, you got to be ruthless in what you know. Problem is, so many of us are going around, don't know what we're actually ruthless about. And it's so important.
Or it's perceived of what, like somebody, like when you lived in LA, right? And I love what you said. Because if you don't know yourself, then you're going into something and they will tell you who you are, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
The box. Yeah.
And social media is doing that, man. Social media is doing that for people. It's telling them what success is. It's telling them what happiness is. It's telling them what they should be, shouldn't be doing. And it's heartbreaking, to be honest, man. It's heartbreaking, So what you're saying is like, it's basic stuff. Meaning,
it's so basic.
Reverse engineer what you want. Start with the outcome and stop chasing stuff, man. Stop chasing
anything besides you want. Yeah, and the thing I would say is the easiest way to design the outcome is to not design the goal, because the first thing we're going to go to, I want $1 million in the bank. Every entrepreneur,
right.
Every entrepreneur, I want $1 million in the bank. I guarantee you, the worst moment I ever had, I had $1 million in the bank. I was like, no, what the hell am I supposed to do now?
Now what, man?
Right? Now what? And so any goal you have, you're going to have 3 days of happiness, and every day after is going to be depression.
Dopamine.
Okay.
Woo.
Yeah, exactly. Because now you need a new goal, or you're
Yes.
not going to be happy anymore. And so what I realize is that if we can architect the feeling in which we experience, and we understand how to construct the feeling using our reality, that is how we get happiness. That is how we get fulfillment. Now, how do you construct a feeling? So the easiest way to construct a feeling is to go and find what that feeling is, whether it's on a vacation or it's on, whatever it might be. Time. Generally, it's easiest to get this on time away, when you're like, all right, let me just close the book, let me close the calendar, let me close the phone calls, let me stop, and let me go find the feeling, and let me figure out how I can recreate that feeling always.
Yes.
And that's going to be a journey, right? I've been on the 3-year journey since I was on Necker Island, May of 2019.
Nice.
And I could say that when I read what I wrote, I'm purely there now. Now, that's even fascinating to say, because even with not getting 12 hours of sleep anymore and getting 7, which by the way is amazing, having a newborn, he sleeps like me, which is amazing. But even what I wrote, when I read it a week ago. I have it in my drawer. I read it. I was like, wow. And I was like, wow. And you know what was interesting about it? What was interesting about it is, once I read it, I didn't have the need to go and write a new one.
Because you felt
because I felt whole in which that was. And I was like, well, if I just keep doing this for the end of time, I'll do everything I'm supposed to do on the planet.
That's beautiful.
And that's very different than a goal.
That's very different from a goal. And it's also, it's a purpose for sure, but it's congruence, right? It's calibration. It's harmonization with what you truly are. Your intuition is pulling you towards. If you're here for a specific reason, most people just get lost in the mist. They get lost with the noise. But if you can get rid of that noise, clear that smoke, life becomes really, really simple, right?
And easy. And I would say, I was watching this interview a couple of years ago from Robert Downey Jr. on the Joe Rogan podcast.
Yes.
And I really loved him, and the way that he explained it was brilliant. And he said, well, there's almost like this magnetic thing that pulls you, and you're like, it's silent, it's invisible, but it pulls you.
Yes.
And that's alignment. Yes. Right? That's alignment. And you can call that the universe, you can call it your intuition, you can call that whatever it might be, but it's a silent line. And what I've learned in my life is, when we listen to it and when we go with it, no matter what it says, our life is much like a movie script, and a good one. And we find what we're here to do. We're things, we don't have to go uphill anymore. And the problem is, go back to just in education in total, no one teaches us to follow that.
No.
Nobody teaches us how to follow that.
Man. Because society is a machine. It's a business, right? And it wants you to be a cog in that mechanism. It doesn't want you to be a free thinker. It doesn't want you to start businesses that it can't earn money from. It doesn't want you to be bouncing around the world and not dodging tax, being very careful and being strategic with your investments, right? It doesn't want you to do that. It wants you to get to work, pay your stuff, get your mortgage, be still and be quiet. And the challenge with that is we're a soul. And because of that, it means that we're here to experience, we're here to express, like what you beautifully said. You were an artist, and we're supposed to create group, whether you're talking atoms, whether you're talking your filter in your brain, whether you're talking neurological patterns, whether you're talking the universe, it doesn't matter, right? Yeah. If we vibrate, and we'll go in there, but if we vibrate, then it's about that frequency. And the duality of what goes around us is it's not good or bad. It's negative or positive. It's things to create momentum.
Responding. And it's responding to us. It's responding to us. And so that's why I'm such a big believer of I mentor a lot of entrepreneurs that are making, sub a couple $1 million a year. And my hopes in mentoring them is that one day I'll be able to, be an investor and advisor in their business. And it does end up happening a lot.
Yeah.
And one of the big things that I get them to do almost all the time, first thing that they do when they work with me, I say, your first assignment, I don't want you to go make any more money. I want you to go and I need you to take your dream vacation right now. I want you to plan your dream vacation. Right. And it got to happen within a month.
That's awesome.
And here's your budget. Here's your budget. All right. Because I know how much money they have in their bank account. I know what they can afford.
Right.
Right. So I tell them. So I have one client and I got them to do this. And they haven't gone on vacation for years. Years.
Right.
They got $500,000 in the bank.
Right.
And I'm like, and they're proud of that. That's a big thing to be proud of, even if they don't anymore because I got them to start spending it because of inflation. But we can talk about it a different time. and so I got them to spend $30,000 on a vacation.
Dude.
Okay. Now that to a lot of people, for most people, that's like, what kind of vacation is that? Okay.
A good one.
And it is a good vacation. And I was like, I want you to experience the frequency of never thinking about what something costs, but by what you automatically with your consciousness want. Okay. And forget everything else. It's like, you're going to spend that money and this is a business investment. Okay.
Interesting.
Well, he came back, this person came back. They made in the next 3 months more money than they made in the last 2 years combined. Okay. Now, some of it's business strategy, let's be honest.
Yeah,
but sure. It was the fact that they were able to tap in to a different level of consciousness than in which was their own. And if we're able to hack the level of consciousness, which is the frequency in which we're essentially, if you want to go to that next level, it's generally not the strategies, the tactics, those types of things. It is being able to feel and experience the frequency, which is that. Okay. Great exercise to be able to do this because I love being able to bring some tactical and strategic things when I'm sharing with people. So it's not just big ideas and people are like, well, Scott talked about something about frequency. So let me.
Right.
And so great. This is a great exercise. This exercise made me into, a decamillionaire at this point.
Awesome.
Okay. So exercise, if you're listening to this, watching this, you just close your eyes on a scale of 1 to 10. I want you to put you somewhere. 10, you're a billionaire. 1, you're homeless. All right, I want you to put yourself somewhere in the middle of that. Most people I find end up being on a 4 or 5, right? They end up being on a 4 or 5. So I want you to detail your life. All right, you pay X for rent, you have the X car, you're able to do X, Y, and Z, whatever it might be. And I want you to get that in your mind. And of course, you're going to be able to spend more time with this after this actual episode. And then now I want you to go to one level up. Okay, so if you're driving a Toyota Corolla today in your thing, now you're driving the BMW you want, right? If you're used to having $20,000 in your bank account, now you have $250,000. If you're used to having to look at the cost of food when you go out to eat, well, you don't do that anymore. So I want you to start detailing all the things in your reality that are now different. Now, so I want you to get used to that, maybe spend 5 to 10 minutes with that. And now I want you to go back to your normal reality and feel what it feels like to be in your current reality versus that reality, whether it's a constriction of energy or an expansion of energy or a scared feeling. And now what I want you to do, I want you to go down to 4, right? So I want you to go down to, well, you can't actually drive a Toyota Corolla anymore. You got to sell that. And you've got to get a 30-year-old Toyota Corolla. That's a bit of a piece of junk. Nothing against Toyota Corollas, was my first car, but now you can't. If you had a 3-bedroom house, now you have a 2-bedroom house. Right. And not such a good part of town.
Right.
Now you only have 1 month's of money in the bank, or maybe you only have a couple of weeks of money in the bank. Right now you're fighting with your significant other about money. Now I want you to get there, and I want you to go back to 5, and then I want you to go back to 6. Right? In your mind, this is an exercise that I did almost every night for years. Okay. And then I want you to go to 7. Now what's going to happen? is your mind's going to start getting very scared of going up or down a significant amount of frequency, which is what we're talking about here. Now we're using physical things to trick your mind here, right? We're using supercars, we're using things that, at the end of the day don't really necessarily matter, but it's the easiest way that your mind has gotten taught to be able to understand this. So we go to 7. Now you have millions of dollars in the bank. You don't think about really anything. You got a couple of houses. There's just pure abundance. You don't really need to kind of think about a whole lot. You wake up in the morning, your verbiage is, what's the opportunity? Your verbiage isn't survival. Your verbiage isn't thriving. It's, what's the opportunity today? What do I get to do? Now, here is what we're trying to do. You go from 1 to 10, and it's going to take an hour. This is an hour meditation if you're going 1 to 10.
Awesome.
Once you get going, it's less, because you're just going in between. And here's what we want to do. We want to make it so that your mind is so much into the version that you desire, which is one version up. It's so neutral that it's as if it's already happened. Now, this is what happens when you do this. You start to make decisions based upon the next level of consciousness instead of your current level of consciousness.
Beautiful.
When you make decisions up on your next level of consciousness, what happens? Your imagination turns into reality because you're making the decisions of your future self.
Beautiful.
That one exercise.
That's awesome.
Will change your life.
Thank you for that, man. That's powerful for everyone listening, and even myself, man. It's like there's always the next level. And it's not necessarily of attainment, of accumulation. It's the next level of what you want to experience your life as. That's the big difference, man. And it's even interesting.
I'll just say as a note,
please.
You can take this and go in every life area. Your kids, your significant other, your health, your everything. And I only use business because it's what we're talking about today, and it's what I talk to people about. But when I wanted to have even a better relationship with my wife, this is what I added. When I look at, well, how do I want to show up as a dad? Again, same thing. And by doing this, I'm able to take the future self and bring them into the now.
It's very beautiful, man. It's beautiful, because what you've added there is there's so many elements. I teach it with what we're doing is I'm building the patterns and the neurology to be that person, so you're able to make decisions at that level, right? So it's a feeling. But what you've done is that you've taken that and added actually the feeling of consciousness, what it's like to vibrate at that level, what it's like to experience at that level. And I don't know if everyone, what we're talking about right now, right? It's like there's so many people who go, oh, I'm spiritual, I get it, all of this. And that becomes an egotistical thing right now.
Correct.
Right? It becomes an attachment to an identity of ego, and it's not real knowledge. It's not wisdom, right? Where you're coming from with that is wisdom, right?
Yeah, well, it's really interesting because first it's knowledge, then it's experience, then it's wisdom.
Yes.
Wisdom is the embodiment of knowledge and experience.
Love it. And it's the absolute truth, an absolute truth. So
it is. Yeah, because it's like you've lived it. And I mean, and that's it. You can learn a lot from someone that's knowledgeable, right? You look at people that teach maybe business, for example, but they never ran a business. Right. Teaching a master's program in business, an MBA, is very different from learning from someone that's done it for years upon years and actually been through it. Two totally different things, and you're going to get two totally different experiences based upon which one you're obtaining and you're experiencing.
Okay, crew, there we go, the end of another clip show. I really hope you enjoyed it. You got lots of good stuff from it. And again, if you want to go back and check the previous episode, well, it's waiting for you there. And speaking of waiting for you there, you've got to make a decision. That's how much do you want the next stage of your life? Do you want to have that limitless brain? Do you want to be like a Jedi? Do you want to be part superhuman? Do you want to take your business life to a whole new level with influence, persuasion, peak performance, and neuroconditioning? Well, I'm sure you do. This is how we scale businesses from 5, 6, 7, 8 figures plus. This is how I've worked with the top people in the world, and I just want to share some of their secret strategies with you. So the next thing you need to do, very simple, nice and easy. Just simply go to the links. That's it. Hit the show notes up, see what's available for you today, and also make sure that you're heading over to andymurphy.online. Why? Because we got articles, we got videos, we got content all for you sitting right there, and so many options to help you get to that next stage, to win, finally win, or take your business and life to a whole different level. Sound good? Awesome, that's waiting for you there. And make sure that you're finding me on social media. It's very easy. It's Andy Murphy Mindset. Type that in, you got me. Or Andy Murphy NLP, Andy Murphy Mindset. Either way, you can find me all over social. Make sure that you're connecting, make sure that you're hanging out, and make sure that you're writing me an awesome review somewhere. Spotify, Apple, or any other platform. I love you for it. They love me for it, and it means I can keep pumping out this awesome content. Okay, do that right now, and until the next time, much love. Have an amazing week, and oh yeah, one more thing. Why don't you smile for me and keep kicking ass?
Thanks so much for listening to today's episode of the Mindset by Design podcast with your host and NLP expert, Andy Murphy. We'll catch you next time.